Hello, my name is Jeff, and what we have here today is another hand-built all-tube guitar amp built into an old radio cabinet. This cabinet is an old Philco radio from the, 1930s, 1940s, and I hand-built an all-tube 5-watt guitar amp with reverb and tremolo, and since I like an amp that can do this, but can also do this, at volumes that aren't going to drive my family crazy, I built an attenuator into this one. It can go from the full 5 watts down to 1 watt and even down to a 1/4 watt. So let me play a little bit so you can hear what it sounds like at some of the different settings, and then we can talk about the circuit and what's going on inside. So the circuit on this one came about because a while back I built an amp with just 112 SL7 going into a 12V6 output tube, and I liked that amp, but it just did not quite distort enough for me. It would just did not have enough. So it sounded much better with a boost pedal in front, so I figured, well, let me build a newer version of it where the boost is a tube that's at the front end. So that's what this one is. It uses a 12 SF7 in the first stage. That's actually the same as half the 12AX7, but that was way too much gain. So the plate resistors form a voltage divider, which lowers that gain quite a bit. And even still, if you crank it all the way up, gain all the way up, volume all the way up, it is too much. Here, let me show you. So I left it like this because I do like the way it sounds sometimes when the gain all the way up and the volume not all the way up, or vice versa. I tried a bunch of different tremolo circuits out in this amp and eventually just settled on using something that's similar to a Vibrochamp's tremolo. Single-ended amps are tough on the tremolo. My favorite tremolo is a Princeton Reverb, where it's modulating the bias of the output tubes, and I even at one point put fixed bias into this amp to see if I could make that work out, and it worked, but it didn't give me the range that I wanted. It just wasn't right. So Vibrochamp it is. And because I couldn't help myself, I did add a switch in the back, which adds in another capacitor in the oscillator circuit, which slows down the speed of the tremolo. So there's two ranges, a faster range, which is actually pretty wide range, and then a slower range, which will get real slow. The reverb circuit is the same simple transformerless circuit that I've been putting into all the amps that I build. It gives you plenty of reverb, so I stick with it. The attenuator circuits are just very simple L pads. For a 5-watt amp like this, I find it works pretty well. You do lose a little of the high end when you go down to the 1-watt and quarter-watt settings, but you can more than make up for that by just turning that tone knob. This clip will give you kind of an idea of the relative volume levels between the 5-watt, 1-watt, and quarter-watt settings. The speaker in this amp is an old 8-inch Alnico speaker that I pulled out of an old Motorola console stereo a while back. You wouldn't think it sounded very good, but it does. And I tried a couple different actual guitar speakers in there and came back to this one because I liked it the best. So let me know what you think about this amp, what you like or don't like or have questions about. I personally love the look of these old radios, and I had a good time making the amp to fit inside this and giving it some new life. And if you like this amp and this video, check out some of my other ones. You can also check me out on Instagram and see what I'm up to and what I'm building next. Alright, thanks for watching.